First, I want to thank Preach and Raider.io for the A Look into Covenants and Mythic Plus Numbers video. I think this is a great way to communicate facts and interpretations of numbers, and we need more of this in the community. I want to take a swing at my solutions to some of the problems he identifies or expand on some of the conversation points that he brings up. Number one, reduce the number of Mythic Plus required for the third choice to at least 6, but likely reduce the options to 1, 4, and 6. Dratno did the math here. It takes 22 weeks at 10 max dungeons to gear out, 28 weeks at 6 dungeons, and 48 weeks at doing 1 max level dungeon a week. I link the tweet below. A lot of players just don't seem to care about the increase of 22% going from a 2 to 3 pieces being available in the Great Cache, because it comes at a cost of 6 hours. Players do care about the 40% chance they get from going to 1 options to 2, because it only takes 4. I want to make one note here. Preach says that players fall off 4 weeks in, and it's true. Compared to the initial surge of players, it has fallen off, but it is roughly 25% more than it was in BFA. Although Preach says that we return to BFA numbers, we actually are up about 25% more. So the Great Wall rewards, or maybe dungeon quality, are high enough to make people want to do more Mythic Plus. It's just not at the same level as it was on launch. I would like to note as well that going from Eternal Palace to Nyalotha was about 28 weeks. So if you're a sweaty tryhard doing 4 max level Mythic Plus dungeons a week from the start, and that's your only main source of loot, like you're doing average Mythic rating or heroic rating, it will likely only help you get to be geared on the first day of the patch to start the next tier's grind, which does not seem right to me personally and seems a little convenient on how that math turned out. Item level rewards at the top end need to be rewarding for the investment of playtime. 10 should drop 2 10s to match the skill and investment, meaning that 13s and 15s should drop instead 2 13s and 2 16s to remain competitive and rewarding. This is a lot shorter. People doing 10s are on average near 205 from what I understand, and people doing 15s are near to 220. The rewards for the skill and effort simply do not match, and this needs to be fixed to keep the game from feeling cheap. This causes a new problem though, where it becomes far more efficient to gear from Mythic Plus than it does from raiding or other venues. Just like with PvP, PVE gear earned through Mythic Plus should be throttled. I would expect this to work nearly identical to the current Conquest system, with the exception of replacing PvP content with PvE content, specifically focusing on Mythic Plus. Skill and effort should be rewarded similarly. Free farming or loot funneling isn't a fun playstyle for the top end or weekend warrior playgroups. Giving the currency a weekly cap to throttle the amount that you can get, but choosing rewards that you prefer and upgrading those rewards would feel far more satisfying. This type of solution should really speak to players who have had to hunt for a particular piece of loot from a dungeon, running either King's Rest over and over and over to get coups. If you're a warlock in Season 1 BFA, running Waycrest Manor over and over and over to get Balefire Branch, or whatever continuous farm you did to get that elusive upgrade. It creates a very toxic environment for getting into keys, hunting for keys, when you really have no control. It's a series of pieces of luck to actually ever get the piece of loot that you're looking for, instead of giving a chance to just play the game and pursue ups from any form of high skill, high performance mythics. Honor earned in rated PvP should lead to the rewards you receive. If you do 1,250 points of honor at Glad and 6,250 at unrated, you should get 1 Glad piece and 2 unrated pieces. To stop raiding locking yourself for loot, this is purely a gearing exploit from my opinion, and it has been around since BFA. I really don't have much to say here. This just seems to me like an exploit that has lived in the game for a long time, and I simply don't know why it hasn't been fixed. If someone doesn't think that this is an exploit, let me know why. I hear things like they bought their IO and that's why they can go to dungeons, or they bought their raid kills, that's why they have all this stuff. But like, man, if you just buy raiding, right? It seems way more valuable than you could ever get from a mythic kill or a weekly Mythic Plus run. I hope you appreciated this. I tried to present all examples that were based in a place of fact, either by bringing things in line statistically or mimicking systems that already exist. I presented all my findings to a number of people in the community, and I found that people respected my ideas, but came with two pieces of feedback. The first being some would like this to be toned down. They believe this may be too efficient, and bring up the number of weeks. I think that's a tuning conversation that can be had rather than an overall system thing. The second critique that I felt worth bringing up was that some people wanted this to be based off of renown. When you hit specific thresholds in renowned, it would instead give you the opportunity to either upgrade pieces using anima or some other resource, or it would change the drops from dungeons. Again, I think that those pose a lot of the same problems that I had discussed earlier, which is it becomes too efficient to use Mythic Plus at some point versus using other avenues. Thank you very much. Please let me know what you think.